Okay, so what if you could take a huge, messy pile of research and turn it into a dynamic, interactive simulation for making decisions? It sounds kind of like science fiction, right? Well, today we're going to walk through an AI workflow that does exactly that. It's all about moving from data chaos to crystal clear clarity. Let's dive in.
You know the feeling, right? We have all been there. There's a huge decision you have to make, and suddenly you are just drowning in a sea of websites, internal documents, and spec sheets. It's the classic analysis paralysis. But what if there was a better way? A way to cut right through all that noise?
So, before we jump into the really cool solution, let's just quickly talk about that frustrating old-school process. This is the manual grind, the one that so many of us still face when we're trying to do any kind of detailed research.
I mean, this is basically the digital version of a desk that's completely buried in paperwork. You've got, like dozens of browser tabs open, PDFs you have to skim through, and you're spending hours just capping and pasting little details into a spreadsheet, and the whole time you're just praying you don't miss something critical. Let's make this super concrete. Imagine your team needs to pick a new work management platform. So you're juggling the pricing pages for Wrike, Smartsheet, and ClickUp, but you also have to cross-reference this internal company memo that has all these strict rules, like needing HIPAA compliance. So you're building this comparison sheet by hand, feature by feature, and the entire time you're worried about making one tiny but very costly mistake. It's not just tedious, it's a process that's just begging for errors.
Okay, enough about the problem. Let's get to the exciting part. We're about to see how a totally new approach can completely flip this messy process on its head. It turns all that chaos into perfect, beautiful clarity in seconds.
The whole solution really starts with this feature called data tables, which is built right into Google's NotebookLM. The best way to think of it is like having your own personal, superpowered research assistant. You just give it all your messy, unstructured sources, the websites, the PDFs, all of it, and it automatically pulls out the key information and organizes it into a perfect table for you. And the process itself is it's astonishingly simple. Seriously. First, you just feed NotebookLM all your sources. You literally paste in the website links and upload that internal memo. Then you give it a simple instruction, something like create a comparison table that follows all my internal rules. You hit generate, and that's it. That's literally the whole process.
And boom, here's the result. In just a few seconds, you get this clean, perfectly structured table. It's already pulled all the pricing, the different tiers, and the compliance info. But the real magic, check out that last column. The AI actually read the internal rules from the memo you uploaded and instantly flagged Trello as non-compliant. I mean, that's hours of manual work just done, and done flawlessly in a moment.
But here's the thing. A static table, as amazing as it is really just the beginning. Now we're going to evolve from a simple analysis of what is to a dynamic tool that can explore what if. And this is where things get really powerful. This really represents a huge leap in thinking. A static table is just a snapshot in time, right? You read it to understand the situation as it is right now. But a live simulation, that's a dynamic playground. You actually interact with it to explore future possibilities. You stop asking, what is the cost? And you start asking, well, what happens if my budget changes? And this quote from the source material just captures the idea perfectly. The goal isn't just to present some data to your boss, it's to give them a tool where they can actually move the levers themselves, play with the different constraints, and come to their own conclusions interactively. So how do you make that leap from a static table to a live simulation? Well, this is where Google's Gemini comes into play. You take that structured data file from NotebookLM and you upload it right into the Gemini app. And Gemini acts as the engine that turns your data into an interactive model, unlocking this incredible what-if capability.
And what you get back isn't just a chart. It's a complete decision-making suite. You want to see how costs change if you add 50 more users? There are interactive levers for that. You need to double-check that everything is compliant? You get an instant health check. You need a recommendation for your boss? It'll generate a full executive summary for you. It even gives you a step-by-step implementation roadmap.
Now, this whole workflow isn't just for comparing software. Not at all. Its real power is in how versatile it is. You can apply this exact same process to almost any task that involves checking a bunch of unstructured data against a set of rules.
So let's pivot to a totally different scenario. Recruitment. You've got a super detailed job description and a huge pile of resumes. The old way, of course, is to manually read every single one. Checking for experience, salary expectations, work authorization, it takes forever.
But using the exact same process, you can just upload the job description and all the resumes into NotebookLM and ask it to create a decision matrix. And in seconds, you have this incredibly clear table showing who meets the criteria, who's asking for too much money, who needs sponsorship, and even a preliminary decision. This could save a hiring manager countless hours.
So as we start to wrap this up, let's just zoom out for a second and think about the big picture implication here. This isn't just some neat trick. This really represents a fundamental shift in how we can approach complex, data-driven decisions.
And here it is. This is the single most important takeaway. The AI's entire analysis is completely 100% grounded in your data, and only your data. It's not guessing or pulling random facts off the internet. And what that means is the output is trustworthy, it's accurate, and it's totally tailored to your specific task, which basically eliminates the risk of those weird AI hallucinations.
This technology really does turn hours of tedious, boring research into a dynamic, interactive decision-making tool in just a few minutes. It's an incredible force multiplier for analysis. So the final question I'll leave you with is this: what complex problem or big decision in your work could you tackle and simulate next?